Division property of exponents. Last assignment we did multiplication property of exponents. Now we're going to do the opposite and do division property of exponents in anticipation of several problems in this assignment. Next to your Desmos graphing calculator, I want you to open up another tab. On this tab, I want you to look up fraction reducer. If you just Google fraction reducer and click the first link, it'll put you here. One of the pros of our graphing calculators in class is that they have a fraction reducer feature that Desmos does not have. And I know that a lot of you out there struggle with reducing fractions, and I don't want to add to any of the anxiety about doing math with this. So Google fraction reducer, click on the first tab, and go from there. Okay, let's get back to our assignment. We will use that fraction reducer when we need to. Okay, we learned last time in multiplication property of exponents that if I have b to the 10th times b to the 2nd, that's the same thing as b to the 12th. Well, logically then, if I went backwards and had b to the 12th divided by b to the 2nd, instead of adding our exponents like we did with multiplying exponents, or multiplication property of exponents rather, it would make sense to subtract our exponents here. And I will prove to you using the Desmos calculator, just like I did last time for the test taking hack. If you do not know this and you forget it and you're on a test and you have access to a calculator and you wonder, whoa, what do I do? I've got my graphing calculator here, I'm taking the SAT or something. Don't worry, just give yourself a little test problem where I'm going to say, okay, what's 3 to the 10th? And let me just remind myself, is that 3 to the 12th divided by 3 to the 2nd? Yeah, indeed. 12 minus 2 is 10, and these numbers match. So it's just a cool hack anytime you're on a test to remind yourself of that. So for me, I've got my letter, which is X. It's not B like last time. It doesn't come up in beautiful blue font. Instead, it's a regular black typing font. And then I subtract. It's always top minus bottom. So I've got 7 minus 6. So technically that's 1, but if you leave a 1 there, sometimes it counts it wrong. So if you have any other number than 1, put that in your exponent. But if you're like me and you have 1, just hit check with the letter. Technically, I am Dylan to the first power, but it's a little redundant to include the 1. So similarly here, just leave the 1 out. But if you have any other number other than 1, put that. And I'm going to do one more example because that is a little confusing, I realize. Oh my gosh, I have it again where it's just X. Okay, let's see if the third time's a charm. I'm a triplet, and I'm the youngest. So in terms of my birth, the third time was a charm. Give me a different problem. Oh my gosh, it's a different letter, but it's still a 1. Do I hear a Wendy's for fourth time being the charm? Come on. No! Is this all just 1s? All right, I'm going to try 3 more times. This is hilarious. Give me an exponent that you subtract that's different than 1. Hey! There it is. 10 minus 2 is 8. So if you have a problem like that, write x to the 8th. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Okay, that was 1. All right, see that 8 there? Cool. Number 2, you notice that for the first time since the last assignment, we have our larger exponent on bottom. That means when we do, it's always still got to be top minus bottom. 2 minus 7. We get a negative exponent. Oh no, because it tells us write an exact simplified answer in terms of positive exponents. Do we remember from last assignment, how do we get rid of our negative exponent? Do we remember how z to the negative 5th becomes a z with a positive 5? Well, I will refresh for you. We have to flip, make a fraction. If we have nothing else on bottom, we just put a 1, so our 1 goes on top. And on bottom goes z to whatever number we had, we just get rid of the negative exponent. So similarly here, I need to type in, and notice they give you this cool little fraction icon for this right here. So I'm going to click this fraction icon, and then I'm going to put a 1 on top, and on the bottom I'm going to put z to the 5th. Same thing on yours. Whatever exponent you get, put that on bottom, just leave out the negative sign, and put it above the letter. Okay, now we're going to get into our fraction reducer. So I hope you're ready with your fraction reducer tab. I'm going to make a fraction for both 3 and 4, but I'll do one at a time. So number 3. I need to reduce 35 over 56. I'm going to ignore my x's for now. 35 over 56. So I go into my fraction reducer, and I type in, I've got no whole number there, but I've got 35 over 56. And then I hit reduce fraction. It tells me greatest common factor. That's kind of fun. But reduce to simplest form is 5/8. Now maybe you don't need this. Maybe you can do reducing fractions in your head or manually on paper. You could realize that these each share a 7. So 35 divided by 7 is 5. 56 divided by 7 is 8. That's why it tells us the greatest common factor was 7. However you reduce your fraction, just reduce your fraction. Then we need to get rid of our exponents. We just simplify them. Well, I have x to the 10th on top and x to the 2nd on bottom. So if I was to either subtract 10 minus 2, or, this is a more universal way of thinking about this, if I cancel 2 from both the top and bottom, the bottom goes away because it just had 2, and the top, if I get rid of 2 of them, I have 8 x's left. And sure enough, it's the same thing as doing, if I just was to subtract the 10 from the 2, I would get x to the 8th. Okay. Either way, however you do it, you're going to need to get the correct number of exponent to put with your letter. You have a choice of whether you want to put that in front, or for me, because it's greater on top, I'm just going to put that next to the 5. But if you wanted to, you could stick x to the 8th in front of your whole fraction. That would also work, as this tells you down here. See, it would have also accepted it 5 over 8, and then in front of the fraction, x to the 8th. All right, number 4, 45 and 36. In my head, I know that they share a 9, but again, I'm not going to rely on you guys having those mental math ninja skills. So you can come over here, reduce 45 over 36. It's going to tell you the greatest common factor is 9, and that reduces to 5/4. So then I come over here, I type in 5 over 4. And then I need to figure out how many more w's do I have on bottom than I have on top. Well, let's do what I just did above, but backwards. Because now if I get rid of both w's on top, they go away. And on bottom, if I get rid of my, just answered my own question. If I get rid of my w, out of w to the 7th, if I get rid of 2 of them and subtract, 7 minus 2 is 5. So on bottom, I could put w to the 5th. And it is very important that for this one, I put that on bottom. Closing in 3, 2, 1, closing it. So next to the 4 now, I'm going to type my letter. Don't forget the letter. Lots of times people will put the right exponent, but they'll forget to type their letter. And then whatever, whoops, not 4, 5. Whatever you have of how many more you have on bottom than top. And if you need to, you can just do your bottom exponent minus your top one. That'll tell you what exponent to put above your letter on bottom. Cool. I don't believe we'll need our fraction reducer anymore, but you never know, so let's just leave it up. For our last 2 problems, do you remember my fantastic mini lesson, if I may say so myself, on multiplication property of exponents, where I taught you before, during, and after for the rest of time, anything, that includes numbers, that includes letters, to the 0 power is, well, if you forgot, you could type whatever, let's just stick to numbers for this. Whatever number you want, raised to the 0 power. See, told you, it'll always be 1, always and forever. Every single one of them, to meet the pattern of mathematics, must always be 1 in that spot. Okay, the final one. Number 6, 4 to the second over 4 to the fifth. Well, let's subtract again. Top minus bottom is 2 minus 5. So to me, that's negative 3. So I've got my 4 to the negative third power, but oh no, that's going to give me, once again, a decimal. Do you remember what I did last time? I said, what is 4 to the positive third? So for you, just write that, and then remember what I do. I said it earlier in this assignment. I said it last assignment. I need to put a 1 on top, and whatever you got without the negative exponent, put that answer on bottom. If you have to do that a couple times, you got to do it a couple times. I don't know why all the times I did a problem like this, I got 1 over 64. For both assignments, this is crazy. When you get them all correct, you're going to go 6 for 6. You're going to get that 100%. This took about 10 minutes. This video is going to be a little over 11 minutes. All right, we're done with multiplication property of exponents. We're done with division property of exponents. We're just going to hit a fun, just smorgasbord of assignments. We've gone through our big geometry units and algebra units and all sorts of other functions. Remember all our parabolas. It's been quite the year. It's great to have you in class. As always, an honor and pleasure to be your teacher, both in person and digitally. Best wishes on your day, week, month, year, everything. Until next time, this has been Class Away from Class. Bye-bye.